Hello, everybody. How you doing today? Welcome back to the news with Lloyd here inside the English TV Live private community. We're going to be talking about a very familiar topic again today, one that I'm personally getting quite sick of, but it is a big story, and that is Brexit. Brexit. I'm so sick of this word, as most people in the UK are. But Brexit has been delayed again. That is the top story for today. This is breaking news, actually. This just was announced a few hours ago, actually. So Brexit has been delayed until until for 3 more months. For 3 more months, the Brexit deadline was supposed to be October the 31st, but that's now been delayed for 3 months. Actually, it's called a instead of an extension, they've called it a flextension. I've never heard this word before. I had never heard this word before, just as I'd never heard the word Brexit before this all happened. Anyway, that's going to be the topic for today. We're going to be taking a closer look at this story and, of course, learning some very useful vocabulary along the way. And if you stay tuned until the end of the show, Toby will be with you with a quiz to just check your comprehension of this story, and also to check that you understood the new vocabulary that we looked at today. So let me just see who's with us in the comments, and also the ETL challenge, the new challenge for this week's 1 minute challenge, will be posted quite soon, so keep an eye out for that. Actually, I thought that this week's challenge could be connected maybe to maybe some vocabulary from this story. So stay tuned to that for that. And let me just say hello to a few people. I can see Trudy, I think, is the first commenter for today. Nice to see you. Olga is here as well. Huala, nice to see you. Good afternoon. Lisa over in Minsk, very nice to see you. She was dancing. So me too, actually. It's one of those songs where you can't help but dance. The BBC News music. And Trudy says, I love this tune. Eka, very nice to see you. I'm watching live. Nice to see you live. You have not, I think often you don't have a chance to watch live. So very nice to see you watching live here for the news with Lloyd. Let me just share a quick picture with you. A meme. You know what a meme is, right? This was actually shared, I think it was by Sergio, one of our members from Italy, and this really made me laugh. And he shared this about 6 months ago, but it is still relevant. So let me share this picture here. All right, so the year is 2387. Earth is a member of the Federation of Planets. Okay, this is 300 years later, right? 350, a long way into the future. Earth is a member of the Federation of Planets, but without Great Britain, which is still trying to leave the EU. That's pretty funny, I think. It's just been going on and on and on and on. It's just a never-ending saga. You know, when is the UK going to leave the EU? So in case you don't know, actually, let me ask you this first. So let me ask you this question. What do you know about Brexit? Because obviously we all know the word Brexit. But what if you were to explain what is Brexit, okay? Because sometimes we forget what the meaning is. We just hear this word all the time. What exactly is Brexit? What do you know about Brexit? Maybe you can let me know in the comments, because I think a lot of people, they just hear this story. They don't know exactly what's going on. So I'm curious to know, what do you know about Brexit? What is Brexit exactly? Seljan is here. She says today is a public holiday in Turkey. Very nice. So she's here as well. Seljan, very nice to see you live, because usually you come and join us in replay land. So very happy to have you with us. All right. Huala says, I forgot the meaning, anyone? Get me to refresh my memory. You could rather say, could you refresh my memory, right? Could you refresh my memory? A meme is kind of... It's a joke. It's a joke usually related to maybe something in popular culture or in the news, when you are joking about something with a picture and some text. That's basically it. Maybe somebody else can give a better definition, but that's quite a funny meme, I think, of Brexit. And thank you to Sergio for sharing that a while ago. I thought that was really funny. So, what do you know about Brexit? What is Brexit? Julia, very nice to see you, by the way. Julia says, I think it's a combination of two words, Britain and exit. That's right. Okay, yes. So Brexit, Britain and exit, but exiting from what? Exiting from what? You're totally right, but what is okay, so that's the word, but what is the meaning? Exiting from what? What is Britain exiting from? And why? And how did this all happen? What do you know about Brexit? Okay, Trudy says Britain wants to have trade unions by itself. You might rather say trade relationships. Britain wants to make trade relationships by itself. Yes, that is one of the big reasons, definitely. So the UK had been trading as part of the EU, right? The EU bloc, 27, 28 members, I think it is. So they trade together, which has pros and cons, of course. But yeah, one of the reasons is people wanted for the country to trade freely. Olga, very nice to see you. Hello from the EU. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying hello from the EU. You were saying from. So yeah, the UK wants to, well, about half of the country, just over half of the country wanted to exit from the EU. That's right. And they had as I'm sure you know by now, they had the referendum back in 2016 now. I can't believe it was so long ago. 2016, June or July? June, right? 2016. And it was 52% of the UK wanted to leave and 48% wanted to remain. And ever since then, it's just been division across the country, trying to get Brexit done, trying to get a deal done. And it's just been going on and on. They can't agree in Parliament, and it's just been a never-ending story, as I'm sure many of you have been watching, and it's very tiring. So the deadline was supposed to be October the 31st, Halloween, but that has been extended again. And let's take a little bit of a look at that story then. So the headline for today is Brexit delayed again as EU sign off 3-month flextension. This is a new word for me as well. Flextension, but the UK can quit early if the deal is done. So, okay, let me try and explain this. So, the deadline was supposed to be the 31st of October. That was what was agreed to with the EU. However, for this deal to become to happen, the Parliament in the UK, we have a Parliament. The Parliament has to agree on the deal, but the Parliament is very, very divided at the moment. They can't agree on anything. So they keep delaying and delaying and delaying, and the leader of the British Prime Minister, the leader of the Conservative Party, Boris Johnson, he's the new Prime Minister. He has been determined to leave the EU. He was actually one of the leaders of the Leave campaign, one of the people who wanted to leave the EU, and he's been saying 31st of October, 31st of October, 31st of October, we will leave. But now Parliament has not agreed on that, even though he made a deal with the EU. But Parliament is saying we need more time to look at this deal, etc. And now Boris Johnson has said, okay, fine, we will have an election. We can have a general election. But now the Parliament is not even agreeing to have an election. So it's just going on and on and on and on. But this is a flex extension, which means, so it's been extended for 3 months, but the UK could leave before those 3 months are finished. So it's flexible, right? Flex extension, flexible extension. It's a new word. I had never heard it before as well. So we're getting all this new vocabulary from this story. All right. So Brexit has, this is the first paragraph here, Brexit has officially been delayed for a third time, third in big letters there, today as EU bosses signed off a 3-month extension until January 31st. So it was supposed to be October 31st, now January 31st, which is actually my father's birthday. Anyway, Brussels, I just realized that. Brussels bosses gave the green light to a flextension with the option of leaving as early as November 30th if a deal is approved by MPs. So, to sign off on something, that's the first vocabulary for today. To sign off on something, or to sign off, means to give your approval, okay? To give your approval, show your agreement for something. It's often used for a contract. So you sign off on a contract. Obviously, you can physically sign the contract, but if you sign off on something, that has the meaning of giving your approval, your permission, your agreement, okay? So you sign off on something. Just remember the preposition on there. So, for example, we just need you to sign off on the deal before we can officially start the project, all right? So, actually, just a few hours ago, the president, or the leader of the EU, Donald Tusk, not Trump, Donald Tusk, he signed off on, or he signed off on this agreement, this extension for Brexit. Okay, he signed off on it. So this was a terrible idea. Did you sign off on it? So if there's something happening and it's your fault because you agreed to it, I say, hey, did you sign off on this? Did you sign off on this? Probably in quite a formal kind of situation. So you sign off on something. You agree to something. And there's several other ways we could say this as well. So we have to give the green light. This basically means kind of the same thing, but it's a bit more flexible. So to give permission, to give your permission, this is more general, could be used in more situations, I would say. So to give the green light, imagine you're at the traffic lights. When you're driving, obviously you have the red light, the amber light, and the green light. Orange or amber. Orange or amber, you can choose. My sister's name's Amber, so I like that one. All right, so to give permission, more general and casual. Lots of different situations you could use this. So the government has given the green light to the development of the new airport, or hotel, or shopping mall, or whatever it happens to be. So you need to get the green light from the government before you can start some construction or do some project or whatever it happens to be. Maybe you need to get the green light from your parents if you are a teenager to go out for the night with your friends or something like that. Her flirting gave me the green light, and I asked her out for a date, which she agreed to. So she was flirting with this person in the story, and that gave him the green light, and he thought, hey, I should ask her out for a date. So when someone gives you the green light, they give you permission. Just like when you're in traffic and the green light gives you permission to drive forward, right? So when else could you be given the green light? Try and think of some examples, some other situations when you could be given the green light. See if you can give me some examples below. So it could be, it could be, it could be something from the government. It could be something in your job. It could be lots of different situations. Romantic, as I mentioned. So Pavlina and Simona, welcome to you. So when else could you be given the green light? So we have a few examples there. Maybe you can leave some examples in the comments and we'll come back to them in a second. So let's continue the article here. The UK will be granted a delay until January 31st, rather. So if it says January 31 when it's written, you would rather say January 31st, right? You would say the st or the th. EU boss Donald Tusk confirmed this morning. He wrote the EU 27, so that's the 27 members of the EU. We have several of the members in the comments here, including Czech Republic, Spain. Is Netherlands in the EU? Surely, yes. Anyway, the EU 27 has agreed that it will accept the UK's request for a Brexit flextension. Brexit flextension, two brand new words here, until the 31st of January 2020. The decision is expected to be formalised through a written procedure. This means there will be no special EU summit to rubber stamp the decision. So you may have seen last week or the week before, I think it was 2 weeks ago, the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson travelled to Brussels to make to agree a deal, okay, for Brexit. So they finally agreed a deal, and everybody was happy. However, that deal did not get through the British Parliament. The British Parliament did not give it the rubber stamp. Okay, so to give something a rubber stamp, there's two ways you can say this: to give a rubber stamp or to rubber stamp. So to rubber stamp something, imagine this. Okay, it means you give a final official approval. This could be a real stamp, right? It could actually be a real stamp, or it could just be figurative, right? So so to give your approval, we've already said some other ways, right? So to give the green light and to sign off on something. So to give a rubber stamp or just to rubber stamp. So, for example, my visa just needs a rubber stamp from the government. Then I'll be able to start my new job. So in this case, that's a literal rubber stamp, right? But obviously it could be, doesn't have to be literal as well. And if you have any examples in the comments, I would love to see them. So Irina says, the director gave a green light to the beneficial proposal from the partner. Okay, nice, yeah. The director, yeah, maybe there was another company, they made a partnership, and another company made a proposal, and that director gave the green light for that proposal to go ahead. He gave the rubber stamp. Trudy says, yes, Netherlands is in the EU. Okay. I get confused because there are some countries which you would expect to be in the EU but are not, such as Switzerland. And I think, I might be mistaken, I think Norway is not in the EU either, even though they're very prominent European countries, not EU. The PMs, PM is short for Prime Minister, the PM's do-or-die promise to leave on October the 31st now lies completely in tatters, and the news will heap pressure on MPs to back the PM's election call tonight to finally get Brexit sorted in the future. Any exit date could be moved forward, I don't know why my voice does that sometimes, these live shows, forward to the end of November or the last day of December if there is a breakthrough, just like a breakthrough in my voice there, in the Commons by then. The Commons is short for the House of Commons. So in Parliament in the UK, where most the decisions are usually made in the House of Commons. There's also the House of Lords as well, but the main one is the House of Commons. That's where the Prime Minister and the parties all debate and vote, etc. You can just call it the Commons. So the PM Boris Johnson has been saying again and again, I don't know if any of you follow British news at all, but he's been saying over and over again, October the 31st, we're going to leave. October the 31st, October the 31st. And he does want to do that. But the problem is he cannot get the Parliament to support him. He can't get the Parliament, the MPs, members of Parliament, to back him. To back somebody means to support them. So his do or die, right? Do or die is like, I have to do it. There's no choice. Do or die. I must do it. Okay. So do or die promise to leave on October the 31st lies completely in tatters. Now, if something is in tatters, Have you ever heard this word before? Tatters.